ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So most of the places, especially in our mission, Bhagavad Gita, apart from Upanishads and our literature, like Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, etc., classes are held. Bhagavad Gita is a very common scripture. Reason being, it is very easy to read compared to Upanishads. Sanskrit language, Vedic Sanskrit was a bit different. But the modern Sanskrit which we use, or rather which is used in Bhagavad Gita, etc., Bhagavad Gita also is almost 3000 years old. That aspect we are not discussing here. That how, what is that which keeps the language in a pure form, doesn't allow it to get corrupted. Think of English. Just take the books which were written in English, say 100 years before. If you read, people say, oh, this is Elizabeth English. Many words are not used now. Many new words are added. How that 3000 years before the vocabulary which is used in Bhagavad Gita is the same vocabulary we use today also. Maybe subject matter is such that there is no scope of evolution of the language. We say this also. Swami Vivekananda spoke lectures in English, say about 120 years before. Take the books which are 120 years old. Swamiji's literature we don't edit. We have printed as he spoke or as he wrote. But you do not find that language has become very old. It is no more a understandable language. It doesn't happen. So that part we do not know how it happens. So Bhagavad Gita, one reason is the concept which are discussed in Bhagavad Gita are very relevant to our life. Secondly, as Adi Shankaracharya says, Bhagavad Gita is Sarva Vedanta Sara Bhuta Sangraha. It's a compilation of all the different type of essence of the Vedas. Vedas are difficult to read. Modern time, there could be handful of people who can say that they have read Vedas fully. I have not read. Most of us, we read Vedas only in form of Upanishads. Now Upanishads are a small part of the Vedas. Vedas are made of, subject-wise if you want to say, several books. Think of several books. Every book prescribes some prayers, prescribes some rituals, and prescribes some philosophy. When it is studied, then whether it is Samaveda, Rigveda, Yajurveda, Atharvaveda, the essence of all the books is this philosophy of Vedanta, what we say, Advaita Vedanta or Vedanta in general. What about remaining part of the book? Remaining part of the book is called Sanghita or Aranyaka or prayers or rituals. A philosophy can survive. A philosophy can remain the same. Its application may vary according to the time or according to the culture. So the ritualistic part, which was followed at that time, say 4,000, 5,000 years before, it practically is not possible to practice. Even if you say, no, I want to do this yajna, exactly what is said in the Vedas, you may not be able to do it, because the conditions which are required, the state of mind which is required, kind of environment which is required, kind of the articles which are required may not be available, because it is a matter of things to be collected and perform an action. What 4,000 years before? How you can have those things today? Even the things which used to be so popular 50 years before, all of us used to have it. Now none of us have it. How many of you have a tape recorder at home? Even if it is somewhere in the store, nobody uses that. In 50 years, if there is so much change, those things become obsolete. What about 4,000 years before? So that doesn't remain practical. For example, you must bring wood of this particular tree. Okay, I can find a tree and get, no, not enough. That tree is a mango tree or a bilva tree whose branch is in the southwest direction. Now how many bilva tree you will find whose direction is in one branch is in the southwest? This kind of details used to be given. Now you say, what is the meaning of those details? There is many things which you and me do not understand now because of we don't practice. Think of after 500 years before, what you are doing now, people may laugh at it. Even if I tell you, which you have seen in your life, many of you, we have used the dot matrix printer. You remember? Cut sound used to be there. Every letter was made of many dots. It was correct, very modern at that time. Now nobody uses that. The science develops very fast. Few years before, none of us knew about what is artificial intelligence. Many years before, if you are not of that field, nobody knows about robotics. These are the new subjects which are added into it. New subjects are added, new vocabulary is added. The words which we never use. If you tell me tablet, I remember tablet means the medicine. Now tablet means the children will understand this tablet. It could be the same. So, language is a medium of expression. Language changes. What you want to express, that changes. So because of that, the language, even if it is a medium of expression, and it is very, very, very unique to say, the shlokas which are written 3,000 years before, with my little knowledge, when I read it, I understand exactly the same which was written 3,000 years before. So Bhagavad Gita is practically essence of Vedas. Few things should know, it won't be useful in your life. There is an Upanishad, shloka in the Upanishad, and a shloka in Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't happen. For example, if it happens that the meaning of both the shlokas are opposite to each other, what the Upanishad says and what Bhagavad Gita says doesn't match, then you have to relinquish Bhagavad Gita. You have to accept what the Vedas says. Technically, traditionally, from scholarly point of view. There are three branches which are accepted technically to make your philosophy standing based on Vedanta, based on Vedas. You interpret in a different way. Shankaracharya told in one way, Madhvacharya told in another way, many acharyas. Vallabhacharya told in one way, Nimbarka Acharya told in one way, Ramanuja Acharya told in another way. Everybody is correct because it is their interpretation. What main difference is among all the acharyas? There are many, I told only 5 or 6. What is the main thing? Main thing about realizing the truth, realizing the final truth. God or the truth, me as Jiva, individual soul, what is my relationship? Some may say Jiva and Brahman. Jiva and Ishvara are two separate entities. Jiva is a Jiva, Ishvara is a Ishvara. Another realized in a different way. No, Jiva and Ishvara are the same. Only potency is different. Somebody say no. Jiva and Ishvara are one. But within God, within Ishvara, every Jiva has a unique place. A team of people, a group of people. But in group, everybody is individual. The totality of all the Jivas can be called Ishvara. There are two by another, one school of thought. Difference is only in that. But there is no difference in any of them telling that the truth is Ishvara. Jiva is the truth. So far as you don't realize that you are one with God or you are part of God, till then you retain your individuality. So these kind of differences are there, philosophical differences are there. That's why all the acharyas, if they want to establish their school of thought, they have to interpret 3 scriptures. For example, there is a book, he translated in Tamil, he translated in Hindi, he translated in Bengali, but it is the same book. In the same way, this is a translation we are telling, but interpretation. Bhagavad Gita has at least 100 modern interpretations apart from these acharyas. People understand scriptures in their own way. And that is uniqueness of Hinduism. That you are allowed to interpret your scriptures according to your understanding. You can't deviate from the truth, but you interpret the truth given in the Veda, in these scriptures, in your own way. Not all the religions accept that. There is no scope of interpretation. What is written is truth. So, what are these 3 books? One is Bhagavad Gita, one is the Upanishads, the main Upanishads, 10 Upanishads, and one is Brahma Sutra. These 3, the Acharya will have to write commentary on these 3 in terms of establishing his or her school of thought. You just simply cannot say, I believe this. No. You interpret the scriptures accordingly. Your belief, your realization came from where? From the scriptures. So you interpret the scriptures. How according to you Jiva and Ishvara are one? How do you think? Right, interpret it. So why these 3 books? Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutra. All these things are good to know. Sometimes there is the problem with the Hindus. The Hindus don't read the book so much, so they do not know. But other religions, people are told to read every day. How much understanding is a different thing. So there are three aspects. One is called Shruti. Shruti means to hear. Vedas, Upanishads are called Shruti. Printing came much later. Writing was there. If you want a Bhagavad Gita, you stay in my ashrama for 6 months, copy the Bhagavad Gita in your own notebook. There is no printing available. These copies are still there in museums. It was one of the prime spiritual practice of Christians, that the monks used to stay in seclusion and write the whole Bible in their own words, just write as it is. And that's a spiritual practice. So Shruti is Upanishad. These 2-3 words are there, which are every now and then you will read in the books. Bhagavad Gita is Smriti, not Shruti. Smriti. Smriti word is also meaning memory. But here Smriti is one group of books which was written for a particular period of time. Why this understanding is required? So that you know the value of the book where it stands. If you open the debates, in India people don't have any other words, so keep on debating. And these people are following Manusmriti, which is very wrong, these are so many ideas they say. Manusmriti is a smriti. It is like constitution which is written for a particular country for a particular period of time. And people do change the constitution. Shruti cannot be changed. Upanishad cannot be changed. A time may come in future, which will not, because it's a very basic scripture. But a time may come, maybe after 5, 10, whatever, 1,000 years, that Bhagavad Gita will not be used. Could be, possibly, technically I am telling. But there won't be any time when Upanishads will be rejected. No. So Shruti is the basis of Hindu philosophy. It should be supported by, called Smriti. Why it is Smriti? Bhagavad Gita is not part of the Vedas. Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. Mahabharata is great, but Mahabharata cannot be kept on the same level of Vedas. Mahabharata is Itihasa, history. And then there is Brahma Sutra. It is called Nyaya Prasthana. So Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. These words are common words we use in our mother tongues in a different ways. Nyaya is justice. But Nyaya, when it comes to scriptures, it is called logic. You cannot say anything illogical, correct? Even in Mahabharata, one place, Yudhishthira says, Dharmaraja, even if you find a statement in the Vedas which is illogical, you can say with respect, you can say, I want to keep it aside because it is illogical. Logic is very important. This is black. Just because Swamiji says this doesn't become white, no? I tell to all of you, this is white. All of you will say either something is wrong with his head, but none of us are going to accept this fact that this is white. This is logic. What is logic? That's a different concept. So, Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya. These three Shruti means Vedas or Upanishads. Smriti is Bhagavad Gita. Nyaya is Brahma Sutra. These three scriptures, an Acharya will have to write commentary to establish his or her school of thought. You have heard this name, Advaita Vedanta, Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita. There are so many, you will be confused. Shaktadvaita, Shuddhadvaita. Little difference in philosophy, but nothing is wrong. Even there are acharyas who are from the Bhakti school. Sri Chaitanya, Vallabhacharya, Nimbarka. They interpret scripture from Bhakti point of view. Shankaracharya puts Jnana. So, Bhagavad Gita's importance is this. But look at this. Why Bhagavad Gita is so important or so popular among us? We know it is a Smriti, but it is more studied than the Shruti itself. People read Upanishad much lesser than Bhagavad Gita. Most of the people read Bhagavad Gita. Those who are little studious will take up Bhagavad Gita to read. That's why I was telling in the beginning that if you see scriptural studies, even in Ramakrishna Mission, our centers, the Swamis will be giving lectures on scriptures, mostly on Bhagavad Gita, because it is very useful. There is no point of my showing up my knowledge of Sanskrit and my knowledge of Sanskrit grammar. No, we are not sitting here for that. We interpret, understand the meaning of the shloka as it can be helpful to us in our spiritual life. Life is very short. People have interest, people study. Now also people have interest, people study different types of sciences. But when it comes to your life, when it comes to you, yourself, you may be an engineer, you may be a doctor, you may be something. That is one type of knowledge which is meant for your survival and earning and all that. But to develop you, yourself as a person, scriptures are required. Scriptures will not say, at least Hindu scriptures, scriptures doesn't say anything about your social life. In whole Bhagavad Gita, is there anywhere what clothes you should wear? No. Hindu scripture doesn't say that. Scriptures are necessary. Why to read? What is that which you get in scriptures and you do not get elsewhere? Scriptures should be referred for the things which you want to know, which your five senses are not able to perceive in this world. What you can see, scripture doesn't need to say. What you can eat, scripture doesn't need to say. Which you can touch, they don't need to say. Something beyond five senses. If the truth, if God is accessible to these five senses, then God will be one of us. That's why in Hinduism we have concept of incarnation. That the truth is so difficult for common men. So by the infinite grace of that truth, in part or in full, takes a human form, or takes a form rather, so that we can access. This from Bhakti point of view we are talking. Very interesting, in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Shankaracharya writes beautifully that according to Advaita Vedanta, there is, everything is mithya. If I and you are mithya, then Krishna's taking birth also is mithya. So he uses very beautifully that the same God non-accessible, as if, he uses the word as if came in form of Krishna, as if he gave a teaching by Bhagavad Gita. Because the truth is, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, it is not accessible to this state of mind, but it is accessible when this mind becomes pure. I may not be able to read now, but with this I can read. In the same way, we may not be able to see or realize God with this impure mind, but if the same mind gets pure, it has a capacity, it increases capacity. Think of the example. Sri Krishna is telling many things to Arjuna. So Arjuna says, I don't understand who you are. You are my friend. Krishna and Arjuna were both were the same age. Both were friends. Both were in relation also, in a way. Then Krishna shows him what? Vishwarupa Darshana, 15th chapter. Before that, Krishna says to him, you cannot see me. You can see this person. You cannot see me who really I am. So, Divyam Dadamite Chakshum. I am going to give you some divine eyes to see. What is divine eyes? Wisdom. Pure eyes. Eyes means not the lens. Pure mind. So Krishna says these things to Arjuna. This topic is very interesting for you to know. When Krishna showed the universal form, or rather Virat form, to Arjuna, the first question that came to Arjuna's mind was, is it the same person whom I know? Like my friend who became my charioteer, became my Sarathi? And now he is standing in front of me, but the whole universe is nothing but part of him. Beautiful description is there. We try to, when we have to express, there is one that he is such a Virat Purusha that what you think so big is like, for him it's like a food. And Arjuna, when looked at this, he found that Krishna, as if he is eating up all the negatives, Kauravas and all that. One description is there, that Arjuna saw, I don't want to make something unpleasant, but you know, Chinese people take octopus and all that. So there are some videos where live octopus they want to eat. So they put in mouth and octopus will be here and there. That description is Bhagavad Gita. Kechit vilagna dasanantareshu. Between the teeth of the Lord, some people are hanging. So he is eating individuals? No. I don't know, I try sometimes to gather the vocabulary, words to express. Yesterday I had a lecture in one place. You need to step out little from your routine thinking and look at your world in a different way. You think that you are a very pure vegetarian person. I can't kill anyone. I take only vegetarian food. Good. So there was a mixture of Indian, Chinese, Malays, all were sitting there. I said, how many of you take yogurt, curd? Pure vegetarian, correct? Take one drop of yogurt and put in microscope and see. You will understand whether it is any living being is there or not. The whole curd is nothing but a group of living beings, bacteria. Every bacteria has a life. How do you say it is vegetarian? So I told, in Hinduism we give you even freedom to tell that this food is vegetarian, which he considers vegetarian, another person considers it non-vegetarian. I take pure vegetarian food. I take only idli and sambar. Idli is vegetarian? Yes. Put in microscope. Now I am doing all this research because I have to, sometimes different group of people I have to say. So I find a YouTube video, create a QR code and put in my PowerPoint presentation. Just see whether idli is vegetarian or not. If you consider bacteria doesn't have life, then I don't mind. Bacteria has got life. How to say it is vegetarian? You decide what is vegetarian. Then I threw a bombshell. Give me one name which you consume as food which doesn't have life. Tell me one item, just one item which doesn't have life. You are alive because somebody is giving his or her life to you. You can't survive without taking life. Your life continues because somebody's life is being added in your life. And don't think you are becoming food to someone. If not now, later. So in our scripture it is written, Jivo Jivasya Bhojanam. One jiva, one living being is food for another living being. I don't need to, you all know. If I am consuming and taking lives and continuing my life, but still I am going towards death. I am not going towards youth. That means what? The food which I am taking is actually consuming my life. Otherwise, why I die? I keep on taking food and then die. How can I die if I am consuming food, adding life into it? Because whom I am thinking I am eating them, actually they are eating me. That's why I was telling. Think differently. Step out of your normal thinking comfort zone and look at yourself. It is totally different. You have heard the name. There was a king who became a saint called Bhartrihari. Bhartrihari, he wanted to enjoy life and he was a king, so a lot of money. So how to enjoy life? He wrote 100 slokas called Sringara Shatakam. 100 slokas on Sringara, or 100 slokas of enjoyment. Then he thought enjoyment has to be with some kind of ethics. I can't enjoy everything and anything which I want. No, there should be ethics. So he wrote 100 slokas on ethics called Niti Shatakam. Then his guru came, and as I told you, step out from your life and look at your life. He said, horrible, I want to renounce. And he became one of the best monks also later. And he wrote Vairagya Shatakam. Same person. Look at the evolution of a person. Nothing wrong or right. We are not here to judge anybody. But he writes in one place that you think you are enjoying. No. The thing whom you think you are enjoying, that thing actually is enjoying you. And here's a beautiful shloka. It starts with this concept. Bhogana bhukta vayameva bhukta. It is not the bhogas which you are eating. Actually, what you are eating is eating you up. For example, we came at 6 o'clock, already 7 o'clock. Time passed. Time doesn't pass, you pass. Time is stand still. Time has nothing to pass. When the clock will move, tick, 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 we think time is passing. Time doesn't pass. 6 o'clock when we came, we became 1 hour older than what we came. Correct? Then who passed? We passed. Kalo na yata vayameva yata. Spirituality is not only in the temple. That is one part of spirituality. Spirituality is to think about yourself as a relative existence, and spirituality is about that absolute, thinking about the absolute. When you cannot think about the absolute, when you are in a normal way of life, then you need to think about yourself. None of us are going back. Last year I was 59 years old, this year I am 58. No. If last year I was 59, this year I will be 60. I cannot go to 58. Then who passed? Time passed or you passed? I passed. But we all think time is passing. So there is already a different way of looking at the world. If you read that, if you see that, your state of mind becomes naturally different. And you will be closer to the truth. You will be more detached. You will be more pure. You will be more aware. Because you will come to know that truth is not what I am seeing. Truth is something very different. So Hinduism says, whatever worship you do, we have very strong shlokas in our scriptures. And that's why you need to do little spiritual practice to understand those shlokas in a proper manner. There is a shloka which it is said, Uttamo Brahma Sadbhava. That me and the Brahman, Atman, that is the truth. That is the best way to meditate. Dhyana Bhavastu Madhyama. Now I am going to meditate. That feeling is good, it's the middle. Puja Japo Adhamo Bhava. You do the worship, you do japa, is one of the lowest type of thinking in terms of spiritual practice. Bahya Puja Adhama Adhama. And the ritualistic worship which you do practically has no place in spiritual life. Why? Why it is said so strongly? Just by doing ritualistic worship, your mind may not change because it is an action. If you do it as a job, all the priests which you find in the temples, good people, I have nothing to say about it. But there is a possibility that he might not be even spiritual. Because that is his job. He gets salary out of it. So even a worship can become a work. But if your heart is clean, if your mind is correct, even the work can become a worship. So it is all in mind. It's all in mind. So the standpoint which you take in what you do makes the difference. Again, it is not the action which is good or bad. It is the motive behind the action which is good or bad. I give examples. If I just go to someone and they don't know that I am holding a pin, and while walking I just prick and go away. He will be angry, he may come to beat me, and it is absolutely wrong to do it. But when you go to the doctor, a big syringe goes inside. Why you don't be angry to the doctor? Pricking is the same. Pricking is not two, it's one same. The pin goes inside your body. The motive is different. And punishment or reward comes because of motive, not because of action. In a civil life, out of anger, if one person kills another person, biggest punishment, capital punishment. But a soldier goes and kills 10 people of the opposition army, he is given medal. Killing is killing, no. No. It is not the action which is good or bad, it is the motive behind the action which is good or bad. Every mother commits thousands of sins out of love for their child. Telling lies, cheating the child. You cannot tell truth. But there is no motive wrong to do anything wrong with the child. You may say many things just to make the child understand. But it may not be truth. In a positive sense, there is one very nice incident. Doctor prescribed that Sri Ramakrishna should take only particular quantity of milk. He should not take more than that. So it was told to Holy Mother who was staying in Nobat that not more than 1 cup. So Mother boiled the milk and 2 cups of milk she reduced into 1 cup and then gave. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, how much is the milk? No, what the doctor told, 1 cup. Was she telling lies to him? No. The feeling that he should take little more, so you boil the milk and give. Thickened milk and give. So truth and false is very different definition. So, coming back to our so Bhagavad Gita is Smriti, is part of Mahabharata. But it is written by one of the greatest author of this world, Vyasa. And he was dictating him, whom? Ganesha. So Vyasa said, okay, I dictate, let somebody write. So Ganesha is one of the most intelligent student. Okay, I will write. How you will write? Where is the pen? So one of the tusk was broken. That's why Ganesha, every statue, the left one is broken. That's why Ganesha is called Ekadanta. Because the second tooth is broken. That was used as a pen, dip and then write. So story goes, here is one more word you will like to know. There is a word called Kuta Shloka. All the 700 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, there are some shlokas which are called Kuta Shloka. What is Kuta? Kutniti you have heard. Kutniti means very intelligently formulated. So there are some shlokas are not easy to understand. There is one particular shloka in whole Bhagavad Gita. Shankaracharya has written 13 pages long commentary on one shloka. Remaining just 2 lines, 3 lines is enough. Because that shloka is so difficult. So story goes, Ganesha says to Vyasa, I can be your stenographer, you dictate, but you have to continuously say, you cannot stop in between. So when I am dictating, I have to formulate some concept now. So Vedanta says, okay, but I have a condition, you cannot write anything without understanding. So this Kuta Shloka in between, this is a story only. Kuta Shloka, there Ganesh also think twice, what he says. In the meantime, Vyasa will formulate some more shlokas. So, this is Smriti, part of Mahabharata. But it is so much full of knowledge. Again, Bhagavad Gita hardly says anything about what the condition of Hinduism you see today. Not a single word called temple is there in this whole book. And Hindu cannot survive without temples. There was no temple. There is no reference of murti, statue. Of course, photograph was not there at that time, but there was no statue. So these are all adopted. But it's okay, we adopt good things from everybody to survive. It will tell you the nature of food. It doesn't prescribe the food. And you decide what is the nature of food. Sattvika food, tamasika food, rajasika food, you decide. As I told, every Hindu consider yogurt as vegetarian, no problem. Consider and eat and be happy. Oh, today I take only yogurt Ekadashi. How many millions of bacteria you are eating, and still you say that you are vegetarian. You decide. What is sattvika food? You decide. You know the same food which is sattvika, change the quantity, become tamasika. Same food. Because it is not the type of food also, the quantity of food is important. Nowadays we don't take so much sweets, correct? We all become conscious of this and that. I like sweet, you gave me sweet, I take sweet. And I took with so much happiness, you gave me the second piece. I took that also. What about the third? What about fourth? What about fifth, sixth and seventh? The first piece of sweet gave you so much happiness. The seventh piece of sweet raised anger in your mind. So whether happiness was in the sweet, anger was in the sweet, no. Initially it played the role of sattvika, make you happy. When the quantity increased, it makes a difference. Medicines. Most of the medicines are bitter. Nobody wants to, I like to take medicine. Nobody says that. That also is there in Bhagavad Gita. There are many things which in the beginning is very unpleasant, but it does good to you. Most of the good things are like that. That which instant happiness gives you is dangerous. Just see. People are nowadays, because of the thanks to communications, language, people can express in different manners. Someone doctor was asked that to keep up my health, what food should I take? So the doctor says, spit out all that is tasty if you want to be healthy. What is tasty? Sugar is tasty, carbohydrate is tasty, fried things are tasty. These are all going to harm you. So what do you take? Boiled vegetable with a little salt. Who wants to take? Truth everybody knows, not everybody can practice the truth. Having said that, the difference between religion and spirituality, we must understand. Religion is the expression of spirituality, and spirituality is the inner reflection of religion. There is no meaning of doing any religious practices which doesn't make you spiritual. And wherever there is a conflict between two religions, is because spirituality is absent, or spirituality is not there. So we always think that it doesn't matter whether you are religious or not, but it is necessary that you become spiritual. Spirituality means if you become spiritual, automatically goodness follows. You cannot harm people. You feel compassion. You feel like serving people just because you are spiritual. Even God may not be in the picture at all. So there is a scientific way of looking at it there. You don't need to look at always from traditional point of view. You see from logical point of view. There are many things which can be proved with logic. That's why many times, many places when I have to give lecture, I say, okay, keep the religion aside and let us talk logical and scientific. And that tells the same. So anyway, Bhagavad Gita is the book which is the essence of all the knowledge. And earlier 2-3 weeks we spent in this, that the essence of, I feel, maybe people feel differently, their way of studying. The one word in Bhagavad Gita can be reduced to is detachment. Love remains, concern remains, but detachment has to be there. Love never was painful. Concern and service were never painful. It is the attachment with that is painful. So if there is detachment, then all that which you think should give you happiness will give you happiness. We shall take it next time. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.